What's the scariest thing you've ever done? And why did you do it? I know what the most dangerous thing is that I've ever done because NASA does the math. You look back to the first 5 shuttle launches, the odds of a catastrophic event during the first 5 shuttle launches was 1 in 9. And even when I first flew on the shuttle back in 1995, 74 shuttle flight, the odds were still, now that we look back, about 1 in 38 or so, 1 in 35, 1 in 40. Not great odds. You go into, at the Kennedy Space Center, into the suit-up room, the same room that our childhood heroes got dressed in. And in the distance, lit up by the huge xenon lights, is your spaceship. And 15 seconds before launch, this happens.
12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
We ride the elevator up until finally, after about 8 minutes and 40 seconds or so, the engine shut off and we're weightless. And we're alive. It's an amazing experience. But why would you do something that dangerous? How do you deal with fear versus danger? It's to allow this to become possible, to be able to launch and go help build a space station where you are on board a 1 million-pound creation that's going around the world at 5 miles a second, 8 kilometers a second, around the world 16 times a day, with experiments on board that are teaching us what the substance of the universe is made of, and running 200 experiments inside, but maybe even more importantly, allowing us to see the world in a way that is impossible through any other means. To be able to look down and have, if your jaw could drop, it would, the jaw-dropping gorgeousness like a self-propelled art gallery of fantastic, constantly changing beauty that is the world itself. And you see, because of the speed, a sunrise or a sunset every 45 minutes. And I was outside of my first spacewalk when my left eye went blind. And I didn't know why. Suddenly my left eye slammed shut in great pain, and I couldn't figure out why my eye wasn't working. I was thinking, what do I do next? I thought, well, maybe that's why we have 2 eyes, so I kept working. But unfortunately, without gravity, tears don't fall. And so you just get a bigger and bigger ball of whatever that is mixed with your tears on your eye until eventually the ball becomes so big that the surface tension takes it across the bridge of your nose like a tiny little waterfall and goes goosh into your other eye. And now I was completely blind outside the spaceship. So what's the scariest thing you've ever done? A lot of people are afraid of spiders. I think you should be afraid of spiders. Spiders are creepy, and they got long, hairy legs. And spiders like this one, the brown recluse, I mean, it's horrible. If a brown recluse bites you, you end up with one of these horrible big necrotic things on your leg. And there might be one right now sitting on the chair behind you, in fact. But then you could say, well, is there a brown recluse sitting on the chair beside me or not? I don't know. Are there brown recluses here? So if you actually do the research, you find out that here in BC, there's about 720, 730 different types of spiders, and there's one that is venomous. And its venom isn't even fatal. It's just kind of like a nasty sting. You're walking along, you are never going to go through a spider web where a black widow bites you. The next time you walk into a spider web, you don't need to panic and go with your caveman reaction. The danger is entirely different than the fear. And how do you get around it, though? How do you change your behavior? Well, next time you see a spider web, have a good look, make sure it's not a black widow spider, and then walk into it. And you can apply this to anything. We knew everything there is to know about the spacesuit, and we trained underwater thousands of times. And we don't just practice things going right, we practice things going wrong all the time. Finally, actually get outside on a spacewalk, even if you're blinded. Your natural panicky reaction doesn't happen. Instead, you kind of look around and go, okay, I can't see. It's not nearly as big a deal. And actually, if you keep on crying for a while, whatever that guck was that's in your eyes starts to dilute. You can start to see again. And we finished everything on the spacewalk. And when we came back inside, Jeff got a cotton batton and took the crusty stuff around my eyes. And it turned out it was just the anti-fog, sort of a mixture of oil and soap that got in my eye. Now we use Johnson's No More Tears, which we probably should have been using right from the very beginning. But the key to that is by looking at the difference between perceived danger and actual danger. Where's the real risk? What is the real thing that you should be afraid of? Not just a generic fear of bad things happening. You can fundamentally change your reaction to things so that it allows you to go places and see things and do things that otherwise would be completely denied to you. Where you can see the hard pan south of the Sahara, or you can see New York City in a way that is almost dreamlike, or the unconscious gingham of Eastern Europe fields, or the Great Lakes as a collection of small puddles. You can see the fault lines of San Francisco and the way the water pours out under the bridge, just entirely different than any other way that you could have if you had not found a way to conquer your fear. It's time to come home at the end. This is our spaceship, the Soyuz, that little one. 3 of us climb in, and then this spaceship detaches from the station and falls into the atmosphere. In essence, you are riding a meteorite home. And riding meteorites is scary, and it ought to be. But instead of riding into the atmosphere, just screaming like you would if suddenly you found yourself riding a meteorite back to Earth, we came thundering back to Earth, and this is what it looked like to land in a Soyuz in Kazakhstan.
And you can see one of those search and recovery helicopters. Once again, that helicopter, part of a dozen such Russian Mi-8 helicopters. Touchdown. 3:14 and 48 seconds a.m. Central Time.
And you roll to a stop as if someone threw your spaceship at the ground. And then eventually the Russians reach in, drag you out, plunk you into a chair, and you can now look back at what was an incredible experience. Just to finish, they asked me to play that guitar.
This is Major Tom to ground control. I've left forevermore, and I'm floating in a most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today. For here am I floating in a tin can, a last glimpse of the world. Planet Earth is blue, and there's so much left to do.
Fear not. Thank you.